everybody, welcome back to another vlog. I have just been sitting here with my cup of tea and I've just been FaceTiming my mum, which is really nice. Yeah, I've been back for a little while now. I went on the most incredible, relaxing late summer holiday with my best friend. We literally did absolutely nothing. For 5 days, we just read and read and read and read. It's amazing, like literally from morning, from like 11 till 5, we were on the beach just reading. So I read a lot of really good books. I read 5 books. I am now home and just, ready to, well, not really ready. I'm not ready to cozy down for autumn. I'm really not, but that's what I will be doing to make it bearable. But actually it's still fairly warm in London at the moment. It's pretty mild still, like low 20s. So I am enjoying that, just being, you know me, pottering about and that kind of thing. I've done all of my books, so that's one thing that I'll actually show you, because I managed to condense my TBR into just a few shelves. I haven't counted how many there are actually. I think I would probably say maybe 30 books. And I actually think I could read most of my TBR by the end of the year. Maybe that's a bit ambitious actually, so there's like 30 of them. But they're the kind of books that have been just on my shelf for months and months, if not years. I'm sure that we all have those books that we bought in the moment. A lot of them are hardbacks. We bought them maybe during COVID, maybe when we were feeling a bit bad about ourselves, and we bought the books, thought, yeah, this book is like, I need to read it immediately, can't possibly wait for the paperback. That hardback has now been sat on my shelf for probably about 2 years. So there's quite a few books like that which I almost need to forget that I own and like go into them fresh again, because I've been seeing them on my shelf for such a long time that they almost don't appeal to me anymore, even though the book, I know it's objectively going to be a great read. Like, they're books that I've been excited to read. I was excited to read and probably would be if I just actually picked them up and gave them a chance. So that is kind of going to be my aim for the next few months, is to, God, there are so many just flies. I hate flies, and they're so big and loud. That's going to kind of be my goal for the rest of the year, is to try and finish as many of those books as possible, so that I can kind of start 2024 afresh, I guess. I do really love how I've arranged my books. I would love to have floor to ceiling bookshelves all around. That's my dream. That's my dream. I don't think that's going to happen for a little while, so you kind of have to make, I like to make do with the stuff that I've got. So there's a lot of just little piles everywhere. But that means that I get to kind of curate almost, there's like 10 to 15 books in one space, and I kind of can curate what that looks like instead of just shoving them all on a shelf. So like over there I've got my favourite translated fiction. I like to keep all of those books together, and then there's always a couple of exceptions, because I feel like they go with the vibe of that shelf more than, even though it's not necessarily the exact same type of book. So like I've got all my Elena Ferrante's together, along with the other Italian translated fiction that I've got. But then next to the Ferrante's, I've got Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro, which obviously is translated. But then next to that, I've got I Choose Elena by Lucia Osborne Crowley, which obviously isn't translated, but she talks a lot about Elena Ferrante, and it's obviously called I Choose Elena. So I like to have that one next to all of my other Elenas, and that's just one of my most satisfied, I just love it. So I can show you what my TBR looks like, and maybe if there's anything that you guys think I should really pick up ASAP, maybe you can reignite some love for the books that have been neglected. And then also, I think what I'm going to do today is I will be planting some bulbs, which is exciting. We're coming into bulb planting season. I think it's still a little bit warm for tulips at the moment. I'm such a curtain twitcher. I guess that's what happens when you live on the ground floor, like you can see everything. It's a bit too warm still to plant some tulips, I think. So I think I'm gonna wait till maybe towards the end of, like mid to end of October to plant my tulips, but I have got quite a lot of other bulbs to plant. I did a really big order on this website called Farmer Gracie. So I'm really excited, but I do need to do a bit of planning. I've got loads of new pots, I've got everything I need. I've got chicken wire to stop the squirrels getting in. So I'm just gonna run you through what I'm gonna do out here. Basically, there's this bed, which had all the wildflowers in. And I've just put new soil in. And in here, I'm gonna plant mostly, we've got some daffodils, and then we've got some irises and some crocuses. And then I've also got these much bigger daffodils, pretty monstrous actually, they're pretty big. So these ones I think I'm going to save for the bigger pots with the tulips. And then these big ones I think I'm going to save for the tulips and the bigger daffodils. And then in here we've got a couple of things that I don't think I'm going to plant today, but will plant soon, but these need to be soaked. So I've got some anemones, which are really cool. They are these tiny little, they're not bulbs, I don't know what these are called. I just looked them up, but they're really weird looking. And then I've got 15 ranunculus, also not bulbs, don't know what these are called, but these are pretty weird too. Isn't that crazy? That is just crazy. These were a bit more of an experiment because I've never even really dealt with these before. I've never planted anything before myself, but these are very different for me, so I kind of just got these to experiment. I think they're half hardy, so not fully, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a wait and see whether these are okay over the winter and stuff, but I didn't get too many of them. These are called the Monterey Lily. I'm going to try and maybe plant these just in a pot by themselves, and then they can keep coming back, and that's just a pot that I don't have to really deal with again. Yeah, so that's what we're working with. And then I've got 4 bags of tulip bulbs over here. I've got a mix, a pride mix. I mean, you've probably seen a tulip bulb before, but I think they look really beautiful anyway. They just look so like tasty. I've got the Mount Tacoma tulip, which I think is a white tulip. Then I've got, oh no, hang on. These I can plant today. Giant snowflakes. I only got 5 of these bulbs, but they're quite big. I think these are maybe also some kind of narcissus, but I can't remember. Maybe if I'm good enough, I'll edit a picture of what these are going to look like, hopefully, what they're going to turn into. And then I've got another tulip mix, lily flowering mix. These are purple, orange, pink, white and cream. Let's see, we're learning, and I'm trying really, really hard not to get anxious about whether what I'm planting is the right thing, whether it's going to look good or whether it's going to grow. Like, I am sure it would be much less anxiety inducing and stressful to just leave it bare out there, but I just can't bear that. I can't bear a bare garden. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of an experiment. We'll see. dispenser boxes because I'm just really afraid of mice being able to get into the cupboards and stuff. Oh, that's one. This is so boring, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna speed this up. So I just thought I'd come in here and talk about my TBR because this room that these books are in is actually, it's not Ben's room, but it is kind of Ben's room because this is where all his stuff is, except for my books, but all, the rest of the stuff in here is all, like, his clothes are in here and he works in here, and this is kind of the room where I put his stuff that's not as aesthetically pleasing as mine. I have here my TBR. These two are definitely all unread, and then I've got a few of these Fitzcarraldos down here I have read. So which ones have I read? I've read Stillborn, and then I've read Pond. Actually, I've only read 2 of these. And I've read Box Hill. I thought I would just show you what we're working with, and we can maybe have a think about what I'm going to read, and if there's anything that you guys think I should start on sooner rather than later, then please let me know. The Constant Gardener, Bliss Montage by Ling Ma, Poor Little Sick Girls, Babel, The Startup Wife, Mayflies. Do you see, like, these are all hardbacks that I've been like hoarding basically for a really long time. Fuck, I look really rough. I hate my hair. I'm gonna chop it all off in a few weeks. It's really becoming quite unmanageable, and just I want to start again. In the meantime, that's the situation. Okay, Mayflies, I've heard amazing things. Like, I know it's going to be really good. Ben's read it, all of his family have read it, and I really want to watch the TV show too. Same with Transcendent Kingdoms, same with The Prophets. Water Dancer after Sappho, this has been on here for a little bit less time, but this kind of intimidates me a little bit because it's in quite an interesting format. So I've been kind of putting off reading this because I'm not sure what it's going to be like. If anyone's read this, let me know. And then yeah, this is just more paperbacks. I've bought these, most of these I've bought more recently, but there are a few which are hang-ons from the last few years, but most of these are a bit more recent. But I've got a couple of like fantasy or like speculative fiction ones that I would really like to read. This one, She Would Be King, sounds like there's maybe some magical realism in there. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Nora has been on my list for so long and has been on my shelf for so long. It's so big though, it's like nearly 1,000 pages. It's quite an eclectic mix. I think there's definitely some that I'd like to prioritise over others. These ones from Fitzcarraldo I do really want to read. Cold Enough for Snow I think is quite a good autumnal read, and also very short, so I think I can tick that. That's less than 100 pages. I can tick that off pretty quick. What are these called? Septology, the Septology trilogy by John Foss, who just won the Nobel Prize for Literature, which reminded me, I saw that actually because last year I just read my first Annie Ernaux when she was announced as the winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature. So I feel like it's quite timely to then read this year's winner. The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. This I've owned. This is probably the book out of all of these that I've owned for the longest, because I actually bought this in probably 2016, 2017 and tried to read it and was far too immature a reader to read it. From what I remember, the first 100 pages, there's a lot of characters, and there's a lot of things going on. So I think, yeah, you can see this is as far as I got last time, 123 pages in out of 800. So who knows, will I get back to this one? I hope so. And then I've got Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. This is a fantasy. I've never read any Marlon James before. I know that A Brief History of Seven Killings is a really amazing book, but I think Marlon James has quite a specific writing style, so which I'm not familiar with yet. And this, I think, is one of those fantasies that it has quite a lot of significant world building and is quite intricate. So again, need to be paying attention if I want to get everything out of this book that there is to get out. That's a kind of brief overview of what is on my TBR. I actually probably don't think I can get through this by the end of the year because there are some pretty hefty ones on here. I mean, Anna Karenina and Jonathan Strange Mr. Norrell alone are both 1,000 pages each, so I doubt I'm gonna get through everything, but I think that it's a pretty good selection to be able to pick stuff from over the next few months, and it is a pretty good goal to kind of try and get through as many of these as I can, and pick the ones that I really love and that I feel really drawn to, and then hopefully I can shrink my TBR a little bit more. Part of me feels quite anxious about going into the new year actually with no unread books on my shelf, so maybe it's okay that I don't get through everything, but even this makes me feel a bit anxious, like I don't have enough to read, even though that's ridiculous. I obviously do have enough to read, but I'm quite a mood reader, so the thought of like not being really taken with anything that's on my shelf makes me quite anxious. But that's fine. I think we've got plenty to work with here. So yeah, hope you found that interesting. Hi everyone. So I am gonna probably end this vlog here. I've been filming it for maybe 2 weeks and I know I've not uploaded in about 3 weeks, and I wasn't really sure whether to like upload it at the moment because of the genocide we are currently seeing unfold. We've all got much better things to do and much better things to be thinking about, so I'm not even really sure if you'll see this. But if in case you do see this, I'm gonna link below different resources for you to go to. I have some incredible friends who are doing really incredible things to protest in whatever way that they can, to provide support and to fundraise and like to raise awareness and everything that they possibly can do. There is like a soothing in resistance and in protest and in doing something and in mobilizing and organizing. There is something that feeds hope in that, and I think we could all do with that. But I also hope that in this time you're also taking the time to look after yourself, and you know, no one can pour from an empty cup. It's important and it's vital that we just hold ourselves and each other while we also don't cut ourselves off from what's happening. To be a sensitive and deep feeling person is painful, but it is important because people who feel deeply have so much empathy